Sup guys, this is ManiReactions and today we're gonna react to Film Theory, Jigsaw Was Right. Yeah, this is a different video, but it's a video that is probably gonna be really entertaining. So, it's gonna be different because what we mostly react to is music videos and stuff like that. But today we're gonna react to something different. Hope you guys enjoy it, and if you guys like this type of videos where we react to something else than music, leave it in the comments and I will be more than happy to react to it. And that's pretty much it. So let's start with this video.
Let's play a game. Your entire search and browsing history has been loaded into a bot that will send it to everyone in your contacts list in 1 hour. Every time you stalked your crush, every time you Googled your own name, every time you asked WebMD about that weird thing on your foot, all of it will be exposed. The only way to prevent this from happening is to find the secret message hidden somewhere in this video and then leave it down in the comments below. 5 words stand between you and embarrassment for life, all marked with this symbol. The clock is ticking, friends. The choice is yours. Live or die.
Well, I don't really care because my search history is pretty empty, so it's a bunch of YouTube videos. That's all I do.
Hello Internet, welcome to Film Theory, the show that cuts straight to the truth like a hacksaw through an ankle. Today we're going to be talking about the Saw franchise, which is something I view much differently now than I did when it first came out. Back then I was all like, oh man, I wonder if I'd be determined enough to saw off my own foot to survive. Nowadays I'm more like, that saw's looking pretty rusty. Hope he got himself a tetanus booster in the last 5 years. But I gotta admit, I have a ton of respect for the Saw movies doing things that no other horror movies do. And I'm not just talking about crushing people's heads between blocks of ice, friends. I mean, when I watch a horror movie, there are plenty of things that I can expect to get. Nightmares, anxiety, underwear stains. But you know what I don't expect to get? Team building exercises. Seriously, before the Saw movies came out, had anybody ever heard of an escape room? Not only did this franchise make me horrified of fluorescent lighted bathrooms in need of a good deep clean, but it also doomed many people to the fate of solving lightly thematic puzzles with acquaintances from around the office. The other rare thing that the Saw franchise did was to give us a supervillain with reasons behind what he's doing. Jigsaw's stated goal in the movies is to make people more appreciative for being alive, and to motivate them to stop doing whatever terrible things that they're doing in their everyday life.
You see, the knowledge of death changes everything. If I were to tell you the exact date and time of your own death, it would shatter your world completely. You savor everything, be it a glass of water or a walk in the park. But most people have the luxury of not knowing when that
Yeah, well,
clock's
hopefully I
gone.
don't get copyrighted because, you know, you get copyright issues when you put clips of movies into a video that is not the guys that created the movie. Hopefully I don't get copyrighted. If I don't, then you guys won't see this video. Sorry about that.
And the irony of it is that keeps them from really living their life.
Which is weirdly admirable, in a way. Certainly more admirable than Michael Myers, who just wants to kill because he's crazy, or Freddy Krueger, who wants to kill you for fun, or Leatherface, who wants to kill you because he needs your bones for furniture.
I've never murdered anyone in my life. The decisions are up to them.
Alright, John, sure you didn't kill anyone. Saying you're not a murderer because the traps kill them is the same thing as shooting someone and claiming you didn't kill them, the gun did. Nice try, buddy. Rationalizing away your horrific murders.
That's the argument Democrats use for taking away people's guns. True. Guns don't kill people. People kill people. You Democrats.
Aside, the Saw franchise does bring up an interesting point.
I'm kidding, by the way. I'm
Jigsaw
kidding.
right?
I love
Is
Democrats.
putting people into dangerous,
Democrat
painful,
too.
life-threatening, and ethically paradoxical circumstances, leaving them better off, assuming that the players of the games actually live through them, which is usually not the case. Well, let me tell you, after doing the research, Jigsaw isn't wrong, and today I'm here to tell you why. So sharpen your hacksaws, stay away from pits full of needles, and steer clear of any tricycle-riding puppets, because today we're diving deep into whether Jigsaw is, through his own twisted psychology, making the world a slightly better place. Now, the first Saw movie came out in 2004 when the most cutting-edge game you can get on a cell phone was Snake. So even if you're a fan of the franchise, you might need a refresher on Jigsaw, aka John Kramer's motivations. So here's a recap and your official spoiler warning for the entire franchise. In the original Saw movie, Jigsaw kidnaps 2 men, Adam and Dr. Gordon, and gives them cryptic
You guys
clues.
hear it? There's spoilers. If you guys want to see the Jigsaw movies and you guys haven't seen it yet, don't watch this video, okay? I'm gonna put a alert at the beginning of the video so you guys don't watch it. So stay tuned. If you have already watched and you don't care, guys, continue watching. But if you guys haven't, go watch the movies and then you come back to the video. And I just hit my lamp, so hopefully that didn't break it. Yeah, so spoilers
on what they have to do in order to escape the grody bathroom that they awaken in. But as the movie goes on, we slowly learn why Jigsaw chose these two for his game. He finds them both morally objectionable. Adam spies on people and sells his photos to blackmailers, and Dr. Gordon appears to be ignoring his family to have an extramarital affair. But it's when we see a flashback to one of Jigsaw's surviving victims that we get the real motivation behind his games. Amanda, a drug addict, finds her head in a reverse bear trap that threatens to flip her skull inside out unless she finds a key to it in a dude's intestines. Remarkably, she succeeds, and is then given the creepiest end screen of any game ever.
Congratulations. You are still alive.
Jigsaw's goal is ultimately to help people turn their lives around, which mirrors his own journey as we find out in later movies. Jigsaw is a guy named John Kramer who got a double dose of bad news when his wife miscarried their unborn son and he was diagnosed with terminal cancer. When he survives an attempt to end his own life, he becomes determined to
Testing the fabric of human nature.
In short, he wants to almost kill people so that they'll snap out of their bad behavior, or, you know, they just fail and die. Though, to be fair, John, if this was truly your stated goal, you would give him, I don't know, a little bit more than 60 seconds to dislodge the key that was surgically implanted behind their eye to remove them from the spiked Iron Maiden that's about to snap their head in two. Just saying. Obviously, it's all a psychopathic idea, right? You can't play mousetrap with people's lives. But for
I mean, he has a really good point. If you're trying to help people appreciate life, you're most likely gonna kill them that way, you know? That way you're most likely gonna kill them. So give my list a little more time, or a little more extra, or a buffer, or some kind of, you know, some kind of help. I don't know, bro. That way you're just most likely gonna kill people. But again, he's just a psychopath. So that's the fun in the movie.
Throughout history, many philosophers have seen trauma and suffering as a means of achieving personal growth, such as Schopenhauer, Kierkegaard, and most notably, Friedrich Nietzsche, with his catchphrase that God is dead.
I mean, about trauma equals personal growth. They do have a point, because look at the people that get heartbroken and then they just basically glow up from there. That's basically a trauma, and they they grow from that and they glow up. So they do have a point.
Nietzsche believed that progress was the result of suffering. Specifically, he wrote this, quote, "The discipline of suffering, of great suffering. Don't you realize that up to this point, it is only this suffering which has created every enhancement in man up to now? That tension of a soul in misery which develops its strength. Has that not been given to it through suffering, through the discipline of great suffering?" Again, to translate that from cranky German philosopher to English, Nietzsche was saying that all of mankind's progress is the result of suffering, and therefore we should embrace it. Well, if that ain't Jigsaw to the letter, I don't know what is. If mankind's greatness is the result of suffering, Jigsaw figures he can just add more suffering into the mix and create better people as a result. Okay, so Jigsaw studied some philosophy to impress people in college. We've all been there, or at least I've been there, because I studied Kantian philosophy in college to impress my now wife Stephanie, which worked, I guess? I don't know, it was the only class that I ever skipped. It was senior year and just a bonus class that I was taking to fill out my schedule. Also, in my defense, still got an A. Anyway, just because some of Jigsaw's principles are rooted in the thoughts of great philosophers doesn't necessarily mean he's right. Do his games actually change the survivors for the better? Surprisingly, yes.
It was the best thing that ever happened to me. He was abusive, but it wasn't until that moment that it really did something.
While, to be fair, most of the players wind up dead, a shocking number of survivors wind up with a new outlook on life. It's something that the series deals pretty heavily with in Saw 3D. During a group therapy session for survivors of Jigsaw's games, we hear that many have found themselves a new outlook on life.
I am simply here to illustrate the fact that a traumatic experience can have a positive outcome. But if you look around at all of these people, taking their lives for granted, eventually they all found something positive from their experience.
Heck, both Amanda and Dr. Gordon from the first Saw movie.
I'm not so sure about that, though. This could go either both ways. You could be like these people, you could be grateful now that you are alive, or you could be traumatized for the rest of your life and not be able to live a regular life. So it could go really both ways, because if you, let's say you as a person, as an individual, go in what these people have gone through, you probably, I don't know about me, but I'd probably be a little traumatized by that experience my whole life, most likely. And I'm probably gonna be scared my whole life too because of what happened. So it could go both ways, you know.
This is why you always gotta read past the headlines, people, because while yes, 60% of participants expressed a positive effect after the trauma, a whopping 94% said that they experienced either some or extreme negative consequences as a result of the trauma. Estimates vary, but experts believe that people who experience some acute form of physical trauma have between a 20 and 50% chance of developing acute stress disorder and or post-traumatic stress disorder, both of which often manifest in nightmares, flashbacks, increased likelihood of self-harm. Sure, if you survive a plane crash, you might appreciate your life a bit more and not get bothered by little things as much, decide to take that improv class that you always wanted to, but you're also much likelier to suffer panic attacks and have your daily routine more interrupted, so it's pretty short-sighted to say that introducing trauma into people's lives will only help them. And you know what? Jigsaw, of all people, should understand that, because most of his trauma was damaging to him rather than helpful. After he lost his unborn son, his response was grief and depression. Not, wow, my life is suddenly better. When he was diagnosed with cancer, more grief and depression, not sunshine and rainbows. It took him a third trauma, the near-death experience of ending his own life, for him to have his quote-unquote epiphany. But the whole situation should have told him that the typical result of a traumatic event is not some positive, life-affirming change. It is insecurity, it is depression, it is grief, it is post-traumatic stress. Turns out that maybe we shouldn't be looking to a serial murderer for philosophical and psychological guidance. Who knew? In the words of one of his former survivors,
You wanna know the best thing that happened to me after having to cut off my own arm? Is handicapped parking at the damn mall!
everyone's a critic, I guess. But hey, that's just a theory. A film theory. And
Game over.
Is that gonna be the end of the video? Yeah, pretty much. Well, you guys let me know if you guys like this type of videos. Just let me know, and I will more than surely react to more of these kinds of videos. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Hope you guys enjoy it, and see you next time. Maybe not, maybe yes, who knows, if we are alive. Peace.